Lee Chenghuan woke up to find that he had traveled to South Korea and had become a prosecutor who had been exploited by his superiors, his father implicated and falsely accused of suicide, his wife divorced, and was abandoned and suspended from work. Fortunately, he unexpectedly found out that he was in the world of Korean dramas. His wife was a crazy critic of Park Yeon-jin, his colleague was Xu Minying, his classmate was his sister. Law Mao Hyun-min, and his partner was his wife Choi Eugene. Lee Chenghuan decided to strategize and cut off the influence of these Korean dramas in advance, using their family background to gradually complete his revenge plan and climb to the highest level, becoming the uncrowned king of South Korea. P.S. I came from the author's small website and don't understand the rules. I will only bury my head in coding. After it is put on the shelves, I will give you a daily increase of 30,000 yuan to see. Please rest assured to follow up. P.S. This book is based on Korean dramas such as The Insider, The King, The Birth of Power, The Prosecutor's Biography, The Secret Forest, Dark Glory, The Young Son of a Rich Family, Guardian K2, and The Inheritors. Keywords of the novel. Make you a prosecutor, are you a thief in a Korean drama? No pop-ups, let you be a prosecutor. Are you a thief in a Korean drama? Download the complete set of TXT, let you become a prosecutor, and you become a thief in Korean dramas. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Cross South Korean Prosecutors, Skyfall begins. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Cross South Korean Prosecutors, Skyfall begins. A certain parallel world, South Korea. On the outskirts of Seoul, in front of an abandoned building. Lee Chenghuan got up from the ground in confusion, looking around at the unfamiliar environment with a puzzled expression on his face. His memory still lingers on last night, when he was playing cards and chatting late into the night with several well-known internet celebrities who had just signed with the company. How did you wake up from sleep? People appear in the wilderness. Looking down, the clothes on my body were not my own. Just at this moment. He felt a dizzy sensation in his head. Immediately after, a strange memory that did not belong to him emerged from his mind. After half a sound. He just digested his memory and understood his current situation. Wipe, this is not a dream. So, I've traveled through time. Lee Chenghuan is not a person of this time and space. But it comes from the blue star. After graduating from university, he was deceived by his second uncle and went to a certain Gallic country to become a foreign mercenary. Doing it for 5 years. During this period, I participated in many secret operations and also achieved the feat of carrying a large pineapple with one hand, KD 16. After retiring, he directly returned to his country. Because of catching up with the good wind of the development of internet live broadcasting. He started filming short videos and became an internet celebrity, sharing his experiences as a mercenary in the Gallic Rooster during his live broadcast. In addition, occasionally sharing a few gunfight videos and pictures while carrying out missions quickly attracted a large number of fans, making him a considerable internet celebrity on a certain platform. Afterwards, he opened an MCN internet celebrity company with the money he earned in his hand, relying on his relatively smart mind and daring execution ability. Starting a business in just 2.5 years has already earned a net worth of over 100 million. I have signed more than 10 female internet celebrities in my hand. Occasionally, I also do live streaming sales. It can also be considered as financial freedom. As a result, I woke up from sleep. He has traveled. I passed through a prosecutor in South Korea who had the same name and surname as him and even looked exactly like him. Upon learning the truth, Lee Chenghuan felt a bit helpless. Because he really doesn't want to travel, what about the tens of millions of deposits in his bank card? What about the charming female internet celebrities in his company? But there's no way. The matter has already happened, take it as it comes. Fortunately, the person he replaced through time travel is a prosecutor. Even if he doesn't know much about South Korea. But I have also watched many Korean dramas before. Knowing what the profession of prosecutor means in South Korea. 2-word summary. Nyobi. 4 words. Quite impressive. South Korean prosecutors have too much power. Up can inspect the president, down can investigate civilians. In South Korea, prosecutors have the power of investigation, arrest, and prosecution. Who should be arrested? The prosecutor the final say. Who should be sued? The prosecutor the final say. Who cares? The prosecutor the final say. Have the power to execute first and report later. Prosecutors can still handle cases independently, with one person responsible for a single case. During the investigation, Chenghuan is decisive and even his superiors cannot stop him. At most, only opinions or suggestions can be provided. Prosecutors can also freely command and dispatch all police forces within their jurisdiction to determine the nature of the case. Issue arrest warrant or cease investigation of the case. As for the police, to put it nicely in South Korea, they are the deputy and assistant of prosecutors, but to put it bluntly, they are a dog of prosecutors. Every prosecutor. They are all the core of this country's judicial system. Among the tens of millions of South Korean citizens, the total number of prosecutors is less than 1,500. Under one person, above 10,000 people. In theory, the identity of a prosecutor is impressive, with a high social status and authority. It is an existence that countless commoners, businessmen, and powerful individuals have to curry favor with. But in my memory, the original owner appeared very sad. It turned out that he was involved in a political struggle. The reason is that there is less than 2 years left until the new president of South Korea changes office. 2 highly anticipated presidential candidates were born among them. They are Member Zhang and Member Jean, respectively. Among them, Member Zhang has the highest support rate. But his opponents and some political opponents who were dissatisfied with the style of Senator Zhang's actions were unwilling to let him ascend to the presidency. So it was decided to conduct a secret investigation into him, attempting to pull him off the horse. And the original owner, Lee Chenghuan, comes from an ordinary background, has no support, and has been an ordinary prosecutor in the prosecutor's office for many years. And it fell into the eyes of those with intentions. Used by the then chief prosecutor of the Supreme Prosecutor's Office, Choi Do-hwan. Promise, as long as he investigates the biggest financial backer behind Counselor Zhang Woo, the chairman of the Future Group, one of South Korea's 3 major conglomerates, and obtains evidence of his illegal loan of 800 billion yuan. Obtain evidence of Congressman Zhang, who had previously pressured the bank president to take illegal loans and embezzle this money, as evidence of corruption and bribery. We can use this to overthrow Counselor Zhang. After the completion of the task, Choi Do-hwan promises to definitely give Lee Chenghuan a promotion and salary increase. After listening to Choi Do-hwan's words, the original owner. When I think of myself working in the prosecutor's office for 8 years and still being at the bottom. And at the beginning, he passed the judicial examination with the first place in the same period. However, some of his classmates who were at the same time as him were already lawyers, justices, and prosecutors. The huge gap made him mentally unbalanced. Now the opportunity is in front of him. He decided to take a desperate gamble and win a fortune. So he resolutely agreed to the conditions of Prosecutor Choi Do-hwan. The investigation into the 800 billion yuan illegal loan incident has been restarted. I didn't expect it. During the handling of the case, they were repeatedly hindered and failed. It's hard to find the financial manager who helped President Wu handle the 800 billion yuan loan and found out that he still has a secret ledger in his hand. I haven't had a chance to be happy yet. As a result, while using the restroom, the finance manager was kidnapped by someone, and by the time they found someone again, they were already dead. The secret ledger was also stolen by someone. The credit is in vain. Lee Chenghuan was very unwilling, so he fell silent for a period of time. Afterwards, he exhausted all his connections, and finally managed to catch the bank president who had fled abroad. As a result, I just wanted him to be honest and lenient, and to voluntarily appear in court to testify against the lawmaker Zhang, who had coerced him into taking out illegal loans. He committed suicide by jumping off a building. This has caused a huge uproar. Li Kangxi, a well-known editor-in-chief and media commentator of Seoul Daily, personally wrote an article criticizing his violent law enforcement, which seriously violated the prosecutor system by resorting to any means to force the bank president to plead guilty. Subsequently, it was revealed that the original owner's father, who lived in the countryside, received huge bribes and even used his son's identity as a prosecutor to bully men and women, rampaging the countryside and illegally raising funds, in short, all kinds of splashing water. The bad news came quickly. Father couldn't bear the humiliation and committed suicide. Li Chenghuan didn't even have time to grieve and go home to deal with the aftermath. I was called up to my boss. His boss told him that a large number of people, as well as Counselor Zhang and Chairman Wu of the Future Group, reported in real name. He was accused of favoritism and bending the law by Li Chenghuan, indulging his father in corruption and bribery, knowingly violating the law, and ordered to immediately suspend his position. Overnight, Li Chenghuan has been suspended from work and his father has died. It is difficult to say whether he can maintain his position as a prosecutor, not to mention his promotion and salary increase. And in despair, he wanted to find Prosecutor Cui, who had instructed him to do this, but this despicable guy refused to see him. He can't even enter the door. Feeling lost and at home, Li Chenghuan was about to complain to his wife. Who knew, the newlywed wife coldly told him that she planned to divorce him. I originally thought that marrying you would lead to happiness and become the supreme prosecutor's wife, but who knew that you were not only mediocre and incompetent, but also a fool who didn't even know you were being used. Now that I have been suspended from my position, how can you support me and myself in the future? Do you want me to suffer with you? Ishi, Li Chenghuan, let's divorce. After listening to my wife's words, the original owner felt deep despair. Overnight, the whole world has betrayed him. He stumbled and left home. Passing by the supermarket, I bought a box of xiaojiu and ran to the wilderness alone. After drinking the wine, I finished. Climb up to this abandoned building and jump down. Ending one's own life. Let Li Chenghuan from Blue Star cross over and replace his identity. This guy is so miserable. I offended the presidential candidate for Congress, the chairman of the chaebol, and was abandoned by a corrupt boss. My father died, my wife wanted a divorce, and I was suspended from my position. This is really the beginning of a landslide. Li Chenghuan's face was speechless. Forget it, let's forget it. The top priority is to go home first. Li Chenghuan walked a long way before finally stopping a taxi on the roadside and having the driver drive back to the address he remembered. P.S. The author is from a small website, a pure newcomer. He only knows how to bury his head in coding, and the quantity is large and full. There, he usually starts with daily updates of 20,000 to 30,000. The best record is updating 60,000 to 700,000 words per month, so everyone doesn't have to worry about the author's updates not keeping up. Please rest assured to follow up. Feel free to vote for the author for recommended monthly tickets and rewards. After this book is released, the author will give you a daily change of 30,000 yuan. P.S. Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. Wife Park Yen-jin. Why reward me? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Wife Park Yen-jin. Why reward me? Jiangnan District, Qingtan Cave. In a wealthy community. Li Chenghuan stood outside the floor, looking at his home. Reached out to knock on the door. But the result hesitated. In my memory, it seems that my newlywed wife's family is quite wealthy. although it is a single-parent family. But since my family was wealthy from a young age, I can also be considered a wealthy class. My mother.in.law is a high-end socialite with a wide network of connections, specially helping some powerful and wealthy businessmen build bridges and connections. Through her mediation, various collaborations were achieved. Or perhaps ask her to help find a woman. In short, my wife's family is very wealthy. And their wedding house was bought by the woman. It is worth over 1 billion Korean won. That is to say, Hwaxia coins are several million in size. Even with the annual salary of over 100 million Korean won from the original owner, Lee Sung-hwan, it would take more than 10 years to afford it. The original owner came from a commoner background, but was able to marry by Fume. Many people think it's a fantasy. But in South Korea, this is not an exception. Prosecutors in South Korea are like scholars from the ancient imperial examinations. Once the imperial list is posted, there will be wealthy businessmen on the list to catch their son.in.law. Anyone who is on the list. Rich businessmen give money, houses, and daughters in various ways, hoping to turn these potential stocks into their own son.in.law. In this way, in the future, whether it is doing business, encountering difficulties, or having personal connections in the court, there will be a son.in.law who serves as an official to take care of them. The same goes for South Korea. These billionaires have to curry favor with prosecutors if they want to do their business well and avoid being troubled by the authorities or encountering illegal activities. The prosecutor can decide with just one sentence whether they should pay for bail or go to jail to get through it. Lee Chenghuan got married relatively late. Usually, prosecutors are snatched away by wealthy individuals as soon as they pass the exam and marry their daughters to them. However, Lee Chenghuan was a fool before due to his wooden personality, low emotional intelligence, and lack of understanding between men and women. He refused the initiative of those wealthy people in various ways. I remained single until the age of 20.8. Coincidentally, he is the same age as Lee Chenghuan, who has traveled through time. And he only married his wife after a month. This month happened to be the beginning of Lee Chenghuan taking over this case from prosecutor Choi Do-hwan. He went out early and returned late every day, and even worked all night in the prosecutor's office on his wedding night, neglecting his wife. Over the past month, the two of them have also been separated from each other. My wife originally didn't like the original owner Lee Chenghuan because she was forced to marry him. At that time, my mother needed to curry favor with the prosecutor and wanted to find a support. There is not much emotional connection between the two people themselves. Lee Chenghuan was suspended from work this time, and she happened to be filing for divorce. The original owner neither agreed nor refused. I just ran out and committed suicide. Recall the details from before. Lee Chenghuan hesitated for several times, but still chose to take out the key and open the door voluntarily. After opening the door, he took off his shoes and changed into a pair of slippers at the entrance. After entering the room, after looking around, there was no wife in the living room. Should I say it or not? This house is quite large, occupying a full floor. There are 4 rooms and 2 living rooms. For Jiangnan district, where every inch of land is worth every penny, this is already a considerable area. Lee Chenghuan walked around without seeing anyone. At first, I thought my wife had gone back to her parents' house. As a result, when he pushed open the wedding room, I suddenly saw my wife doing yoga on the balcony. She wore a high ponytail, with delicate makeup on her face. 2 slender straps hung on her round and fair shoulders, and the bear was about to burst out from below. Her lower body is adorned with a light and slim gray yoga pant, perfectly outlining her curvy figure, especially her slender and straight thighs. Due to her concentration on yoga, one long leg is lifted backwards, and her ankle and ankle are crystal clear. Her beautiful and fair jade feet are exquisitely exquisite. It's a coincidence. It happened to be in the lower abdomen of Lee Chenghuan, who had just stepped forward and was ready to greet her. This left Chenghuan stunned. My wife was also stunned. Why does it seem like my foot has stepped on something? She turned her head in surprise. I saw Chenghuan, dressed in a suit and leather shoes, standing behind me in a slightly disheveled state before I could change clothes. Ah! She let out a scream. Ah! Ah! She! When did you come back? You walked silently. The wife's delicate pretty face was full of anger. Immediately got up and pointed at him, scolding. And Chenghuan only then realized that his wife not only had a good figure and beautiful appearance, but also had a decent height, with a bare foot appearance of 168 centimeters. From his perspective, she is truly the epitome of human beauty, looking down without seeing her toes. Definitely at the level of a female lead in a Han anime. 9.3 points. Most importantly, at that moment, Chenghuan seemed to feel that his wife's appearance was unusually familiar. It seems like I've seen it somewhere before. His wife's name came to mind. Park Yeon-jin. Suddenly, a flash of lightning flashed by. How could it be her? The appearance and name of his wife in front of him overlapped with the female villain in a Korean drama he had watched before. Finally, it fits perfectly together. It's really you, Park Yeon-jin. Chenghuan's eyes were filled with surprises. He never expected it. Not only have I traveled to South Korea, but I am also South Korea in the world of Korean dramas. This surprised him both pleasantly and unexpectedly. When he watched that Korean drama called Dark Glory, he really liked this crazy woman. Although she was bad and oily, she was really beautiful. At that time, I thought I wished I were a chaebol. Unexpectedly, when she woke up from sleep, Park Yeon-jin really appeared in front of her. And Park Yeon-jin saw Chenghuan scrutinizing her without restraint. Suddenly, I was furious. Ah Xiba! What are you looking at, Chenghuan? You bastard, didn't you run out and get a hangover? I told you, we're going to divorce tomorrow. What are you doing back here? This is the house my father bought for me. Seeing Park Yeon-jin's sharp and sarcastic expression on her face, Chenghuan frowned. Although he didn't know why Park Yeon-jin, who was supposed to marry that wealthy tycoon named Hee-daoying, would marry him. But he's not a good-tempered guy. On the contrary. During the years when he worked as a mercenary overseas, he carried out countless secret missions, and many terrorists died at his hands. Even if you become an internet celebrity after returning to your home country and start an MCN internet celebrity company to compete with other companies for internet celebrities, the methods used are not honorable, and you have several arch rivals offline. His company can grow not only because of his brain, but also because of his ruthless wrist. Therefore, none of the female internet celebrities he signed dared to rebel or claim online that they had been bullied by their boss and suffered from Jade syndrome. All are obedient and obedient. In the original world, this was still the case. Now that I have come to your country of Bangzi, I have become a prosecutor again. Do I still need to be obedient and cautious? So. Seeing Park Yeon-jin being aggressive towards her, Chenghuan raised his hand and slapped it. Pop. The slap on Park Yeon-jin's face caught her off guard. She stumbled and almost fell to the ground. She covered her cheeks and looked at Chenghuan incredulously. Ah she. Michiao searched, are you crazy? You dare to hit me? I originally wanted to give you a chance, but now I have decided that I must divorce tomorrow, you useless domestic violence man. Get out of here now, otherwise I will call the police. Upon hearing this, Chenghuan sneered. As if he had not heard a threat, he approached her on his own. You. Don't come over. What do you want to do? Ash. Don't blame me for being impolite if you come over again. Park Yeon-jin retreated while warning Chenghuan. She felt that something was wrong with this man today. Usually being gentle, respectful, and humble towards oneself. How dare you dare to hit her today? At this moment, I smelled the alcohol smell coming from Li Chenghuan's face. She suddenly realized that this bastard must have drunk too much and gone crazy. Since that's the case, then don't blame me. Park Yen-jin let out a cold snort. Fortunately, she has a black belt in Taekwondo. Faced with a drunken coward, isn't it easy to catch him? So. She made a decisive move. Just raise your legs high and kick a standard Taekwondo kick towards Li Chenghuan's face. Result. Li Chenghuan doesn't dodge or dodge. Let her snow-white and smooth jade feet kick her face. Not even shaking. Feeling the tender white jade feet painted with red manicures in front of me. Li Chenghuan chuckled. I reached out and grabbed her little foot. Darling, why reward me? Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter. Chapter 3. Does it pain, baby? Be good in the future. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 4. Park Yun-jin, seeking recommended and monthly tickets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Park Yun-jin trapped in entanglement, seeking recommended tickets and monthly tickets. Hey! Isn't Obama suspended indefinitely? How? To be honest, Park Yen-jin doesn't quite believe it. But she dared not question loudly in front of Li Chenghuan. Mainly because I am afraid of being beaten. She was already afraid of this unpredictable man. Her crazy criticism state is limited to facing weak situations. In the face of someone who forces her to be stronger. For example, her mother, all in June, River Ing, and so on. I can't fully unleash it. Unless you expose her shortcomings. Upon hearing this, Li Chenghuan gave a mysterious smile and said, Yenjin will know. Alright, I'm hungry. Go make breakfast now. Upon hearing this, Park Yen-jin stood still and said, Obama, me, I. What are you? I don't know how to cook. So what do you know? Makeup, dressing, maintenance, yoga practice, shopping, and spending money. Ixi, no wonder you said you're going to marry a wealthy tycoon after graduation. Marrying me as a prosecutor is really difficult for you. Hey. How did Obama know about me? Alright, what other ingredients are there at home? I'll do it myself. Well. There may be some bags of ramen noodles and some pickles in the refrigerator. Upon hearing this, Li Chenghuan walked into the almost spotless kitchen. Sure enough, I found several bags of instant noodles in the refrigerator. There is also a can of spicy cabbage. He doesn't understand why South Koreans want to call ramen noodles when they want instant noodles. Fortunately, when he was at Blue Star, he and his comrades were on missions in the wilderness, and he developed a good cooking skills. Cooking a meal was not an easy task. He washed the dusty pot and then put it on the faucet to collect half of the water. Then I turned on the induction cooker and put it on. Soon, the water boiled. Start bubbling and bubbling. Li Chenghuan put 2 more bags of instant noodles into boiling water. Put it into the seasoning bag, and the freshly chopped kimchi. Finally, I knocked down the remaining 2 eggs from the refrigerator. Time flies. A fragrance wafted out. Park Yun-jin leaned against the door frame and watched Li Chenghuan's skilled skills from the side, completely stunned. Uba is so awesome. How can he make Xian ramen noodles? Li Chenghuan was speechless. Is instant noodles and kimchi so difficult to make in South Korea? In less than a few minutes, Li Chenghuan cooked a pot of spicy ramen noodles. Served separately in 2 bowls and served on the dining table. Looking back again. Park Yun-jin has picked up her chopsticks and is waiting there to eat. Ah ishi, you woman. Quite fast in eating. Chenghuan Li roast and sat down. But Park Yenjin can't wait to start talking about noodles. At the moment of entrance, she suddenly said, "Wow, it's delicious. It's more authentic than the Xian Lamian noodles I eat outside. How did you do it?" Li Chenghuan picked up his chopsticks and took a bite, but he felt a bit disgusted. For someone like him who is accustomed to Chinese cuisine and always requires a combination of meat and vegetables in every meal, with 3 dishes and 1 soup. Eating instant noodles in the morning is simply torture. After all, the body is my own and I am not accustomed to the dietary habits of South Koreans. Forget it, that's all for now. In the future, we must train Park Yeon-jin to be a virtuous wife and mother who can live up to the hall and down to the kitchen. Li Chenghuan looked at Park Yeon-jin's expression of enjoying instant noodles. I thought to myself. As the wife of a prosecutor, how can I just know how to shop and buy? Another thing, Park Yeon-jin is a woman who doesn't make people worry. In the original drama, there are also criminal records of betrayal and infidelity. He doesn't quite remember whether she had turned Rivering green before or after marriage. His daughter is not a seed of Rivering, but all in June who colluded with her. In my memory, Park Yeon-jin has just graduated recently. I'm sure I've been in contact with those bullying 5-person groups like Kwon Zaijuan. So Li Chenghuan must be wary of this. She must not go alone with John and the others without her own knowledge. He doesn't want to be wearing a green hat for no reason. Fortunately, he had already tried last night. Park Yeon-jin is still a newcomer. Otherwise, it would be a complete loss of blood. We have to come up with a solution. Li Chenghuan pondered for a moment. Yenjin, ah. Hey. Are you planning to go out today? Why is Obama asking so? I mean, have you found a job yet? I had planned to intern as a weather host before, but... But what? But I haven't gone yet. What have you been doing at home all this time? Eating, sleeping, watching TV dramas, and gathering with classmates. In the future, don't go to classmate gatherings. Or I can accompany you. Why? No reason, then you have to apply for a job for me at a TV station today. As a wife, you should make your own contribution to the family's expenses. You also have to learn how to cook, starting with the simplest Xian Lamian noodles. I hope that every day when I come back, Yenjin can cook a delicious table for me, understand? But cooking, this is really difficult. If it's difficult, go learn. Do you have to admit that you're a waste? Yenjin, you're my wife, Li Chenghuan. Oh. I will definitely work hard, but can you put down your hand first, Oba? I'm afraid. Cough. I was a bit excited for a moment. Li Chenghuan let go and reluctantly took 2 bites of instant noodles. He hurriedly picked up his suit jacket and prepared to go out. After undergoing initial training by Li Chenghuan, Park Yeon-jin. I can also be considered to have a bit of a wife's appearance. He was obediently escorted out of the door. I also thoughtfully helped him tidy up his tie. Remember to come back early tonight, Oba. I will, but did Yenjin forget something? Yes, what is it? Li Chenghuan pointed to his cheek and said, shouldn't Yenjin give her husband a goodbye kiss? Upon hearing this, Park Yeon-jin blushed slightly. Hesitated for a moment. I took the initiative to kiss Li Chenghuan's handsome face. Who knew this guy didn't speak martial arts? Turn your head directly. 2 people are mouth to mouth. Park Yeon-jin widened her eyes, but it was too late to dodge. Can only be forced to bear it. Whether or not to say, this woman is truly top-notch. After kissing her, Li Chenghuan's lips and teeth remained fragrant. There is a sweet taste. I'm leaving, dear. Li Chenghuan finished kissing and swaggered away. Park Yeon-jin hasn't even reacted yet. Until watching Li Chenghuan's back disappear into the elevator. She just realized now. Ixi. Li Chenghuan, this guy, has really changed. If it weren't for his identical appearance, I would even suspect that they were two people at all. But can he really restore his identity as a prosecutor? If he fails, what should I do? Leaving him. Suddenly feeling a bit scared. What's going on? But, my mom said she had already found a man from a wealthy family for me. And besides, tomorrow is the time to meet, should I go and make an appointment? Park Yen-jin is caught in a dilemma. If it weren't for Li Chenghuan taking her last night, the two had an intimate relationship. She is still the same Park Yen-jin as before, and it is highly likely that she will not hesitate to abandon Li Chenghuan. I have gone to pursue my dreams. Her dream is to marry a wealthy tycoon, become a wealthy wife, have luxury cars for transportation, have a nanny to take care of children, have endless money, and have a noble status. I only need to attend the lightest class in South Korea every day. Being a weather host. South Korea is just a little heavy, it rains in one place and the whole country. One place is sunny, the whole country is sunny. You can also rely on the weather forecast of Yanbian province in neighboring China. Work for 3 minutes. Idle all day. But now, she hesitated. She didn't know why she hesitated, she just felt that if she betrayed Li Chenghuan, something very bad, even irreversible, could happen. Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter. Chapter 5. Xiba Ya, dare you play with me? Seeking data support. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Xiba Ya, dare you play with me? Seeking data support. On the other side. After Li Chenghuan left home, I took a taxi directly to the Supreme Prosecutor's office. It's not that we don't have a car at home. Park Yun-jin owns a car, and it's also a valuable Porsche supercar. But that car is hers. Plus, Li Chenghuan came out in a hurry. I forgot to bring the car key. I can only temporarily feel wronged for a period of time. Wait for him to return to his original position. Try again to embezzle. Bah, work hard to earn money. Then buy yourself a high-end sedan. Ask subordinates to help him drive. As a Grand Prosecutor of the Republic of Korea, how can you personally drive? Soon. The driver took him to the Supreme Prosecutor's office located in Ruizhou district. This area is actually the headquarters of the judicial system. In addition to the prosecutor's office, there are also courts. The Supreme Prosecutor's office that Li Chenghuan went to is also known as the Grand Prosecutor's office. It is the highest level prosecutor's office in South Korea. The levels of prosecutors' offices in South Korea are Grand Prosecutor's Office, Higher Prosecutor's Office, Local Prosecutor's Office, and Local Prosecutor's Office Branch. The Grand Prosecutor's Office is located at the top level of the prosecutorial organizational structure, managing and supervising the investigation and operation of all other prosecution offices in the Republic of Korea. The Prosecutor General handles all work and directs all members of the Prosecutor's Office. At the same time, the Grand Prosecutor's Office is mainly responsible for investigating major cases. That is to say, in addition to overseeing all the prosecutors' offices of all sizes in South Korea, the Grand Prosecutor's Office also specializes in handling major cases. Major cases involving members of Congress, chaebol presidents, impeachment of presidents, and so on, only prosecutors from the Grand Prosecutor's Office dare to do so. After all, they are covered by the Attorney General behind them. And the original owner, Li Chenghuan, is the unlucky guy because Chui Do-hwan, who led him to launch an investigation into illegal loans, corruption, and bribery by member Zhang and Chairman Wu, is not the Attorney General. Just a prosecutor who was simply unhappy and had conflicts with Counselor Zhang in his work, half of his personal grudges were inside. The other half is a political opponent who is unwilling to let Congressman Zhang become president. I want to pull him off the horse. Both sides hit it off at once. So we found the unlucky owner Li Chenghuan. Li Chenghuan stood at the entrance of the Grand Prosecutor's office, gazing at the building, which was more than 10 floors high, and became calm. I walked in with firm steps. As a celebrity in the circle during this period, Li Chenghuan received special attention as soon as he entered the prosecutor's office. Many colleagues and auxiliary staff of the prosecutor's office, seeing that Li Chenghuan, who had been suspended from work, dared to return to the prosecutor's office, all had different expressions, some sympathized, some pitied, some gloated, and more indifferent. The saying goes that tea leaves cool, but that's all. Li Chenghuan didn't pay attention to those gazes. For him, the top priority is to return to his original position as soon as possible. Without the identity of a prosecutor. In South Korea, one is destined to only be an ordinary person. There is no chance at all to climb upwards. Even if he wants to eat soft food, he can't find a place. And he only had one goal from beginning to end. It's about finding Chui Do-hwan, who had tricked him earlier, to confront him in person. As soon as he arrived at Chui Do-hwan's office, he was stopped. He is his practical officer. Sorry, Prosecutor Lee, you cannot enter. Why? I have something to do with Prosecutor Chui. Prosecutor Chui is not here, and in addition, Prosecutor Lee is currently on suspension. In theory, you should reflect at home. When the storm clears, you can return to the prosecutor's office only after the reports from Councillor Zhang and Chairman Wu have been revoked. The practical officer's meaning is very clear. That means Li Chenghuan is not even qualified to come to the prosecutor's office now. Not even qualified to see the prosecutor. Unless Member Zhang and President Wu give up retaliation against him. But is this possible? Those two big shots killed his father and suspended him, clearly indicating that they wanted to exterminate him. If Li Chenghuan were still a prosecutor, they wouldn't dare to go too far. Only by starting from the people around him. After all, the group of prosecutors is relatively united, with a large influence. Although the tycoons and legislators are not afraid, it is easy to get into trouble. But if he loses his identity as a prosecutor, that's easy to handle. Who knows if Li Chenghuan still has a chance to be reinstated to his original position after this indefinite suspension. Wait until 1 or 2 years come to an end. Can superiors still remember that this person is one thing? And Li Chenghuan must have prepared before coming. If he lacks confidence, how dare he come to find Chui Do-hwan? So, he expressionlessly took out a document from the briefcase he was holding in his hand and shook it in front of the practicing officer, saying, "There is original evidence about President Wu's corruption and bribery inside. You can go in and ask Prosecutor Chui if he still wants it. If not, then forget it. I'll leave immediately." Upon hearing this, the practical officer was taken aback. I never expected that Li Chenghuan would really get the evidence. As Chui Do-hwan's confidant, he certainly knew the importance of these evidence materials and dared not neglect them. He quickly pushed the door in to report to Chui Do-hwan. Soon, a voice came from the office. "Let him in." Then the practical officer walked out with a much better attitude and bowed to him, saying, "Prosecutor Lee, the prosecutor has let you in." Li Chenghuan nodded slightly. Carrying his briefcase, he entered Chui Do-hwan's office. I saw this guy who almost killed the original owner. He is not tall, has a thin figure, and a Mediterranean hairstyle. But his eyes were very bright, with occasional flashes of bright light, as if he was calculating something. At first glance, it looks like an old fox. At this moment, I saw Li Chenghuan come in. He didn't even lift his head. But instead, he continued to pretend to work on his desk, signing and grading documents. Hang Li Chenghuan aside. This damn Xiba Bangzi is still showing off to your dad at this time. Li Chenghuan began to get angry. His personality destined him to be unable to engage in any intrigue with these old foxes. He wants to be a mudslide without a pattern. So he took the initiative and said, "It seems that Prosecutor Chui is not very interested in the evidence materials in my hands. Since that's the case, I will go back and continue to suspend my position for reflection." "Say it." Li Chenghuan turned around and was about to leave. This caught Chui Dohuan off guard. "The script is clearly not written like this. Shouldn't you, Li Chenghuan, be standing there respectfully, waiting for me to finish my trick without any hesitation, until your heart is exhausted? Why do you have to leave just because you're messing around? How can this work?" Chui Dohuan didn't care about his appearance anymore. Quickly speaking up, cough. "Well, Chenghuan, why didn't you remind me when you came in? I was busy with work just now, and I heard you got evidence of President Wu's illegal loan. Bring it over and show it to me." Seeing Chui Dohuan's anxious heart but seemingly calm demeanor, Li Chenghuan sneered repeatedly. "If labor and management don't come with you like this, you old boy is planning to start practicing eagle training and dog show off again, right? I really thought I was still the same Li Chenghuan as before." Li Chenghuan said expressionlessly, "I'm sorry, Prosecutor Chui. I actually don't have any evidence of President Wu's illegal loan." This statement came out. Chui Dohuan's face changed in vain. The originally hypocritical and friendly face turned into a fierce and gloomy one. He stared at Li Chenghuan with a pair of eagle-like eyes, and slowly spoke, "Xiba. Do you dare to play with me? Do you know the consequences of doing this? P.S. South Korean prosecutor level. Intern prosecutor, prosecutor, minister, deputy minister, prosecutor general, senior prosecutor, prosecutor general. Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter. Chapter 6. Threatening the Attorney General. Fish die and the net is broken. Request for recommended ticket month. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Threatening the Attorney General. Fish die and the net is broken. Seeking recommended monthly tickets, it was the prosecutor who played with me first. Li Chenghuan's language suddenly became fierce in vain. Chui Dohuan was taken aback. I didn't expect that Li Chenghuan would dare to get angry at himself. Who gave him the courage? Do young people nowadays have no sense of seniority or inferiority? Ash, please. And Li Chenghuan continued to say. The prosecutor had promised to give me a promotion and salary increase as long as I received evidence of President Wu and member Zhang's collusion in illegal activities, right? Chui Dohuan said expressionlessly, "That's true, but you failed." Li Chenghuan sneered and said, "So that's why you gave up on me. I worked for you, but the prosecutor couldn't even cover up my family. My father, an honest retired teacher, was falsely accused of corruption and bribery, and even accused of running rampant in the village and illegally raising funds. Xiba, can't the prosecutor see through such outrageous and shameless framing? After such a thing happens, who dares to sacrifice their lives for you in the future?" Faced with Li Chenghuan's questioning, Chui Dohuan was also stunned. Since he became the prosecutor for so many years, Li Chenghuan was the first to dare to question him in this tone. Setting aside the facts, this kid is really impolite. At this moment, he was extremely grateful that he had decisively given up on this scapegoat, let him take the blame for himself, and then ran to President Wu's place, bowing in pleasing the other party. Timely distancing oneself from Li Chenghuan. What he needs is an obedient dog. Instead of a vicious dog that dares to bark at its owner like it does now. So. Chui Dohuan remained expressionless and said coldly, Ishi, Li Chenghuan, it's best for you to know who you're talking to now, what attitude and tone you're using. Are you just learning how to confront your superiors in the Judicial Research Institute and the Grand Prosecutor's office these years? Li Chenghuan immediately retorted, don't tell me such useless nonsense. Prosecutor Chui, have you forgotten that I am now a suspended prosecutor, my father has died, and my reputation has also been tarnished, so I have nothing to lose. There is an old saying in Huaxia that goes barefoot is not afraid of wearing shoes. You should understand what it means. If you don't understand, should I play the original recording for Counselor Zhang and President Wu to listen to? Upon hearing Li Chenghuan's threatening words, Chui Dohuan's face once again changed in vain. I never expected Li Chenghuan to be so hard. Tear open your face and confront him. Barefoot is not afraid of wearing shoes. Chui Dohuan should understand the meaning of this sentence. After all, these high-level officials in South Korea, whether prosecutors or judges, have to learn Chinese characters. Especially judges. If they don't know Chinese, they can't even understand the verdict. After all, Korean is just pinyin. It's not just words. A pinyin sentence may have many meanings. For things like legal provisions that require precise contextual context, if Chinese characters are not used, the judgments they make will only be confusing and chaotic. And what Li Chenghuan means? He has nothing now, threatening Chui Dohuan that if he is not treated fairly, he will expose the original recording. Chui Dohuan would never accept such a thing happening no matter what. If Li Chenghuan really had the recording of him soliciting and promising Li Chenghuan to investigate Counselor Zhang and President Wu. Once exposed. If it may not necessarily lead to his suspension. But at least it will also hurt the muscles and bones. Counselor Zhang and President Wu are not fools. They must know that Li Chenghuan had the courage to investigate them back then, and there was definitely someone behind it. But Chui Dohuan is very smart and picked himself clean in advance. Therefore, no one knows that he is the mastermind behind the scenes. But there is no wall that cannot withstand the wind. Once Li Chenghuan, this young man from the West, really wants to fight against him, Chui Dohuan will definitely feel very uncomfortable. Zaibatsu and legislators are not easy to deal with. But on second thought, he realized. How could this little beast have guessed in advance that it would end up like this today? Can you still prepare the recording in advance? This is simply impossible. The reason why I chose this kid back then was because he didn't have any ulterior motives. Perhaps he still wants to deceive himself. Thinking of this, Chui Dohuan still had a cold face and calmly said, Prosecutor Li, you should know that continuously deceiving your superiors is a very bad behavior. I sympathize with your situation, but you have disappointed me. Who knows? Li Chenghuan took out a recording pen in front of him. After pressing the switch, spread out a familiar phrase. Chenghuan, according to the intelligence obtained by our prosecutor's office, Counselor Zhang, who is currently in the limelight, may be suspected of using his power for personal gain and interfering in a criminal case of illegal loans. The intelligence also states that he ordered the bank president to illegally borrow a huge loan of up to 800 billion yuan from Chairman Wu of the Future Group, seriously damaging national interests. We now need a capable and dedicated person who upholds the prosecutor's beliefs to investigate this case. If he succeeds, he will become a national hero of South Korea, a shining prosecutor, and will surely become a role model for all prosecutors in South Korea. Through this, his career can also rise significantly, and he will become famous throughout the world. Do you have this interest? Prosecutor General, I have taken on this case. As a prosecutor of the Republic of Korea, I will never allow such a heinous incident to exist, let alone a legislator who distorts the law for personal gain, abuses power, and colludes with officials and businessmen to become the president of South Korea. This entire recording. Loud clearly in the office. Chui Dohuan's face darkened to the extreme. Staring intently at Li Chenghuan's hand. I never expected that he would record in advance. This guy is too cunning. Prosecutor Chui, I believe I remember your expression. This was the scene at the time, and I also believe that Counselor Zhang and President Wu should be very interested in this matter. After all, I'm just a small shrimp. Revenge me obviously can't calm their anger. There's also a big fish behind me, which is the best material they want to catch and kill to make sashimi, right? Oh, by the way, Prosecutor Chui doesn't have to try to silence me either, because before coming, I had already handed over the backup recordings to a few friends, and if I can't go back intact today, they will hand over the recordings to Counselor Zhang and President Wu, and upload them online at the same time. I believe this will definitely ignite the political arena in South Korea, causing an earthquake among prosecutors, legislators, and chaebols, and lowering the public trust of South Korean people in prosecutors and legislators to the lowest point. As a small prosecutor, I don't care if my life is ruined. I just don't know if Prosecutor Chui, who is the main envoy behind the scenes, can you withstand it? Li Chenghuan's undisguised threatening words. Go straight to the point. I caught Chui Dohuan off guard. He clenched his fists tightly under the table. Amazing anger. He never imagined that one day he would be threatened by the abandoned son in his eyes. Who gave him the courage? Simultaneously offended the prosecutor, legislator, and prosecutor. Aren't he planning to hang out in South Korea? What exactly are you trying to say? Or rather, what do you want? After anger, Chui Dohuan quickly calmed down. Although Li Chenghuan's threat made him very angry and indeed caused chaos, it did not mean that he had no way to deal with it, although he would be a bit embarrassed at the time. Sitting in his position, the power in his hands was beyond Li Chenghuan's imagination. Li Chenghuan is far from qualified to fight him to the death. I've said so much. I just wanted to seek benefits from him. And Li Chenghuan himself is also very clear. He did this just to provoke Chui Dohuan's fear of him. Great figures cherish their feathers. Unless Chui Dohuan doesn't want to climb up anymore. Otherwise, once this matter is exposed, apart from anything else, the Prosecutor General will definitely lower his punishment or reprimand him. I'm afraid I won't reuse him for a long time in the future. So, he changed his previous determination and threat. Smiling, he said to Chui Dohuan. Prosecutor Chui, my appeal is very simple. There are only 3 in total. Firstly, restore the official to their original position. Secondly, give me a ministerial position. Thirdly, I request that it be transferred to the Central Inspection Center in Seoul. The first time I was writing at the starting point, I realized that the new book period could only add 2 chapters per day. The author is really feeling uncomfortable. I always add 7 or 8 chapters per day when I leave the small station outside, so there is no way. The starting point rule is like this. I try to control myself, save more manuscripts, and when I put it on the shelves, I write 20,000 to 30,000 yuan per day for everyone. I hope my brothers can vote more for recommendations and monthly passes to encourage the author. If there are any rewards, it would be even better. If there is a large reward, add more. He 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 he. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Decentralize the Central District Prosecutors in Seoul, be the first crazy dog in South Korea. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Decentralize the Central District Prosecutors in Seoul, be the first crazy dog in South Korea. You think it's beautiful. Chui Dohuan was almost infuriated by Li Chenghuan's shameless tone. Xiba. You are a waste material with more than enough achievements and more than enough failures. If you mess up the situation and still want to get a promotion and a raise, how can there be such a good thing? Chui Dohuan realized that he had underestimated this kid before. He possesses the shamelessness of a politician. You should not be a prosecutor, but rather a member of parliament. Upon hearing these words, Li Chenghuan remained calm at all. As the saying goes, starting from the ground and bargaining everywhere. No matter whether Chui Dohuan agrees or not. Just put forward the requirements first. So. He spoke in an angry and resolute tone. Prosecutor General Choi, Li Sung-hwan, was an excellent soldier in the military back then, and I was also admitted to the prosecutor system with the highest ranking in the judicial examination during the same period. Over the years, I have been working diligently and tirelessly in the Grand Prosecutor's office, making great contributions to the security and stability of South Korea. Even if the last mission failed, it was not my fault. Everyone knows that the chaebol in South Korea is the most difficult bone to gnaw on, let alone a presidential candidate, Congressman Zhang. Have you ever thought about my future as a small prosecutor to challenge these two mountains? The price is my father, the last relative in the world. He died. Died unjustly. Do you know how painful and uncomfortable I am? I just want justice. We need some compensation. Is it difficult to give me a ministerial position? Lee Chenghuan had a face of pain and indignation. Tears welled up in the eyes. The fist was clenched tightly. Combined with his tall figure and gritting expression, Choi Do-hwan's inexplicable momentum weakened. He suddenly remembered. Lee Chenghuan has indeed received the Excellent Military Medal and is a retired soldier with outstanding military achievements. His military strength must be very strong. If you don't calm this kid down today. What if he goes crazy and beats himself? He is old enough to withstand the punches of a reckless man like Lee Chenghuan. Forget it. After all, he is helping himself with things. It is also necessary to soothe appropriately. After all, everyone in the prosecutor's office is watching, and if he just ignores Lee Chenghuan like this. In the future, if he wants someone to help him do his best. That would be difficult. A leader can be mediocre or incompetent. But it is necessary to have clear rewards and punishments. Only in this way will subordinates be willing to sacrifice their lives for you. So he sighed. He waved his hand and said, "All right, I can either reinstate you or demote you to the Central District Prosecutor's office in Seoul, but the position of minister is not realistic. There are only a small number of people in a prosecutor's office, and each position has a number. Unless the older generation retires or is transferred, the lower level will have the opportunity to go up. Chenghuan, you're still young, not yet 30 years old. It shouldn't be a problem for you to hold a ministerial position before the age of 40. You need to take care of your seniors more." Choi Do-hwan hasn't finished speaking yet. Seeing Lee Chenghuan's expression of wanting to rush over and fight desperately with him, I quickly changed my tune again. "So, after you go to the Central District Prosecutor's office in Seoul, I'll arrange a position for you as the head of the Criminal Investigation Department, which is stronger than an ordinary prosecutor. Is that enough?" After hearing these words, Lee Chenghuan suddenly changed his anger and grief. Then he revealed his most sincere smile. Give a deep bow to Choi Do-hwan. Thank you for the cultivation of the Prosecutor General. Chenghuan will definitely serve the party and the country in the future. Bah! I have sacrificed my all for the Prosecutor General. I will be your most loyal subordinate and do my best to help you. Seeing how quickly Lee Chenghuan's attitude changed before and after, Choi Do-hwan was stunned. Emotions, you kid just looked so ghostly, you're all pretending. He has a feeling of being deceived. But since everything has been said, he can't make any further changes. After all, Lee Chenghuan is still useful. At least, is he shameless enough? The last action against Member Zhang and President Wu failed. It doesn't mean that he and the masterminds behind him will give up on this. After all, there are still 2 years left. There is still enough time to get Counselor Zhang off the horse. Lee Chenghuan previously said that his achievements were inferior to his failures. But at least he did find some clues that alarmed Member Zhang and President Wu, otherwise they wouldn't have reacted so strongly. So, he smiled slightly at Lee Chenghuan and said, "Well, Chenghuan, since our misunderstanding has been resolved, it's time to have a good discussion about the matter. Let me ask you, did you really almost get the evidence of that illegal loan last time?" Lee Chenghuan nodded and said, "That's right, actually I still know who the data evidence is now in their hands. Oh. Who is it? A gang leader, An Shangjiu. An Shangjiu. This person is. He is the editor-in-chief of Hanqing Daily and the younger brother of renowned media personality Li Konghe. He is a thug and a dog. What? The person of editor Li. That's right, it's just writing articles to spread rumors and smear my editor-in-chief Li. If it weren't for him taking the initiative and writing that article, how could I have been criticized by thousands of people and caused such a huge negative impact? So what do you mean? Editor-in-chief Li, Counselor Zhang, and President Wu must be in collusion. At least, it should be a collusion. Otherwise, how could things have happened so coincidentally? Just as I was about to submit the bank president for review, he voluntarily jumped off a building and committed suicide. He had just committed suicide, and Li Konghe wrote an article criticizing me. I wouldn't believe it if there weren't any cat tricks in here. After listening to Li Chenghuan's analysis, Cui Dohuan, the old fox, also understood. It seems that he really underestimated Counselor Zhang. This despicable and shameless guy not only colluded with the wealthy, but also wore the same pants as Li Konghe, who controlled the media's voice. He has power, financial resources, and media influence in his hands. It's as difficult as heaven to bring him down. Ah Xiba. He is too careless. Subsequently, he couldn't help but take a fresh look at Li Chenghuan. So this kid still has some abilities. I knew I shouldn't have given up on him so early. If only I had secretly given him some support at that time. Cui Dohuan had a hint of regret. But fortunately, it's not too late yet. So he showed a satisfied smile to Li Chenghuan and said, Chenghuan, I underestimated you too much before. I didn't expect you to find a lot of things. This is my dereliction of duty. Alright, you'll continue to investigate this case in the future, but you'll have to go underground and keep it secret. As long as you can thoroughly solve this case, my promise from the beginning will still be valid. At least, it can also promote you to the position of minister. You should think carefully about it yourself. Consider a dir. I want to draw big cakes for the labor management again. Labor and management won't take advantage of you. Li Chenghuan cursed inwardly at Cui Dohuan, this shameless old guy. On the surface, he said with a righteous and stern expression, please rest assured, Prosecutor General. I have always planned to continue investigating this case, both public and private. I swear to fight against bureaucratic powers and tycoons to the end. In fact, he has already made a decision in his heart. This case definitely needs to be investigated. It's just that he's not doing things for Cui Dohuan. This old guy can't be relied on at all. He runs faster than anyone when it comes to things. He is seeking revenge for himself and his original owner. Member Zhang, President Wu, and Li Konghe from Dog Day. You three are holding your hair and waiting for me. Sooner or later, I will send you all in. Li Chenghuan whispered in secret. As a prosecutor in South Korea, if you want to get promoted quickly, you have to handle major cases. Just like the imperial censors around ancient emperors. Censorate officials, impeach officials. Like a mad dog, catch and bite whoever you catch. The more aggressive the behavior, the more people bite. The more the people feel that you are upright and fearless of power. In history, a certain prosecutor general in South Korea was known for his selflessness and toughness. During his tenure, he directly sent the president in and even locked down the president of South Korea's top conglomerate for half a year. Later, that guy resigned and ran for election directly. It only took 8 months to become president. Li Chenghuan has set a small goal for himself, to become South Korea's #1 mad dog prosecutor first. Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter. Chapter 8. Everyone curses the chaebol, everyone hates themselves for not being a chaebol. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Everyone curses the chaebol, everyone hates themselves for not being a chaebol. Request for recommended and monthly tickets. When Chenghuan came out of the prosecutor's office again, his face was already filled with a proud smile. The plan is very successful. It can even be said that he achieved his vision beyond normal. It seems that I have a generous attitude towards this move. It does work for these hypocritical sticks. He had always approached the conversation with an attitude of not being afraid of wearing shoes on bare feet. It's not a big deal, it's a big deal. He didn't believe that Choi Do-hwan was so tough and dared to confront Counselor Zhang and President Wu head-on. If he had that ability, he wouldn't even be able to cover up Chenghuan, a small prosecutor. As soon as something goes wrong, quickly get rid of the relationship. Sure enough. Under his threat, Choi Do-hwan couldn't grasp Chenghuan's attitude. Also cherishing feathers. I can only recognize it by pinching my nose. In fact, Chenghuan started negotiating with the idea of demoting to the Central Inspection Center in Seoul. In the Grand Prosecutor's office, there are many related parties everywhere. If you want to encounter a big case, it's no less than winning the lottery. Instead of continuing to endure here, it's better to go to the Central Inspection Center in Seoul below and start over. As the largest local prosecutor's office in South Korea, the Seoul Central District prosecutors receive countless cases every day. Although most of them are trivial matters. But at least there's something to do every day. He doesn't want to continue sitting on the bench in the prosecutor's office. Although the prosecutors of the Grand Prosecutor's office are equivalent to the officials of the capital city, and their positions are the same as those of local officials, their positions are vastly different. Chenghuan was demoted to the Central District prosecutors in Seoul, only giving him the position of head of the criminal department. Strictly speaking, it would be considered a demotion. Generally, when a Beijing official is demoted, promotion is necessary. But Chenghuan doesn't care. As long as he can stay away from the center of the vortex and accumulate strength in the dark, that's all. He doesn't have the strength to confront member Zhang, Chairman Wu, and editor-in-chief Li yet. Let's start with a lewd development. Furthermore, he is not the true type of person who is incompatible with the powerful and wealthy, and hates evil like a grudge. If Counselor Zhang and President Wu are willing to promote him and let him join their circle, he can call his adoptive father on the spot. As for his father's death because of Counselor Zhang and President Wu. Sorry, that's the original owner's father. It's not his father. If President Wu can make him also become a tycoon, Chenghuan can call his father. Everyone curses the chaebol, only hating themselves for not being a chaebol. Watching Chenghuan leave proudly, Choi Do-hwan's practical officer entered the office. Bowing slightly to Choi Do-hwan behind his desk, he said, "Prosecutor, are you just restoring him to his original position like this? This kid seems to have a bone in the back of his head, and I'm afraid he'll bite you again in the future." Upon hearing this, Choi Do-hwan lifted his head and sneered, if only he had that ability. I gave him another chance because he is now carefree and not afraid to wear shoes barefoot. His father died because of Counselor Zhang and President Wu, so he will never let go of this hatred. I just need to wait for him to start a new investigation and secretly promote the situation, so that he can completely turn into a crazy dog and bite whoever he catches. At that time, even if we can't pull Zhang Shijun off the horse, we can at least make him look disheveled and embarrassed. I'm not afraid this kid has ambition, but I'm afraid he's too incompetent and giving him a chance won't work. After listening, the practical officer finally understood. Originally, the prosecutor had such a long-term vision that Chenghuan thought he had fought for what he deserved. In fact, Choi Do-hwan was just picking up a rusty nail clipper again. And on Chenghuan's side, holding the appointment letter personally written by Choi Do-hwan, arrived at the former prosecutor's office. I saw the 3 former aides. In South Korea, almost every prosecutor is equipped with 1 substantive officer and at least 2 search officers. A practical officer is roughly equivalent to a prosecutor's deputy, assistant, and secretary. If nothing unexpected happens, the practitioner will follow the prosecutor for a lifetime until retirement. A practical officer is a close comrade in arms closely related to the prosecutor in terms of honor and disgrace, and also the most reliable subordinate. And the search officer is responsible for taking action, including but not limited to helping prosecutors drive, run errands, communicate, and being responsible for collecting evidence and information during investigations, etc. And after seeing Li Chenghuan's appearance, the former practical officer and two search officers of Li Chenghuan's body. Excitedly, he walked forward and bowed deeply to him. "Prosecutor, you're back. Well, Tai Zhu, pack up your things with Chang Su and Yun Hao, we need to prepare to leave." Li Chenghuan said to Zheng Taizhu, a practical officer dressed in a suit and leather shoes, with golden glasses and meticulously combed hair, in front of him. Zheng Taizhu is Li Chenghuan's college classmate and has a very close relationship. The two of them took the judicial examination together. Unfortunately, one passed and the other failed. Losing is the norm. It should be noted that in the Great Bang country, hundreds of thousands of people take the judicial examination every year, and the actual pass rate is only 3%. And prosecutors were born out of these 3%. The probability of success is even more outrageous. This is also the reason why there are only less than 1,500 prosecutors in the country with a population of up to 50 million. And due to the high tuition cost, ordinary families are simply unable to afford their children's second round of exams. Basically, it has locked the door for ordinary people to become upper-class elites through judicial exams. Generally speaking, among the 10 candidates who passed the judicial examination, there may not necessarily be one commoner. Zheng Taizhu died in the first round of the judicial examination. The score ranking was directly brushed down. He was discouraged and planned to go back to his hometown to inherit his father's small restaurant. But he was kept by Li Chenghuan and became his own practical officer. Don't be fooled by the fact that prosecutors do not belong to this sequence, but in reality, their power is equally significant, acting as spokespersons for prosecutors outside. In the jurisdiction of this prosecutor, whether it is the police or the president of the enterprise, the reputation of the gentry, all practitioners should be treated with respect. It is precisely because of this level of student relationship and support. Zheng Taizhu is extremely grateful to his original body. He has done a lot of things for him with diligence and sincerity. Belonging to is an absolutely trustworthy confidant. And the two search officers, Jin Changshu and An Yunhao, were both comrades in arms of Li Chenghuan's original unit. After everyone retired together, these two comrades had a difficult time. They didn't have great learning talents, let alone the possibility of being admitted to the prosecutor. It was Li Chenghuan, the original identity, who found them and asked them to stay by his side as search officers. Although it was just a job as a laborer for prosecutors, their social status alone was not much higher than when they were before. If it weren't for Li Chenghuan, these two comrades in arms wouldn't even be able to handle the subsidiary of the chaebols, Shi Chu. The three of them were obedient to Li Chenghuan's words. I heard that the prosecutor has not only returned to his original position. They also applied to be transferred to the Central District Prosecutors in Seoul. Everyone's hearts are suddenly filled with hope. Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter. Chapter 9. Are you, Xu Minying, seeking recommended tickets and monthly tickets? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Are you, Xu Minying, seeking recommended and monthly tickets? It was already 10 o'clock in the afternoon when Zheng Taizhu, Jin Changshu, and An Yunhao had packed their things. Li Chenghuan only took 2 bites of instant noodles for breakfast and was already hungry. Zheng Taizhu's ability to observe words and expressions is quite outstanding. He immediately suggested, Li Jian, why don't we go eat first? We've packed up almost everything, let's fill our stomachs first. Coincidentally, I recently discovered a snack shop that offers grilled meat and seafood bone soup, which are quite good. Would Li Jian like to give it a try? Upon hearing this, Li Chenghuan nodded and said, "Okay, Taizhu, you can lead the way." Zheng Taizhu led the way, while Li Chenghuan followed with both hands in his pockets. And Jin Changshu and An Yinhao were holding 2 piles of document boxes. Amidst the sighing and emotional gaze of a group of colleagues in the prosecutor's office, the group left the prosecutor's office. They thought that Li Chenghuan had been completely suspended or even dismissed. After all, he had offended legislators and tycoons, and even ordinary prosecutors had no good fruit to eat. Especially for chess pieces like Li Chenghuan, who have no authority, power, or background. But Li Chenghuan paid no attention to the eyes of these people. Does the sparrow know the ambition of the swan? Give him 2.5 years, and he will make these people look at him with new eyes. But Zheng Taizhu is far from as calm as Li Chenghuan. As a practical officer of Li Chenghuan, he knows very well how much pressure his boss is under. Being demoted from the Grand Prosecutor's office to a local prosecutor. This is not honor, but shame. He once learned a Chinese sentence: those who are subjects of others, you worry about your subjects and work hard, you insult your subjects and die. His prosecutor was suppressed, bullied, and as a subordinate, he naturally felt humiliated. But fortunately, Li Jian has not been suspended from his position. As long as he is still a prosecutor in the Republic of Korea, we have a chance to turn things around. Even if it's starting from the Central District Inspection in Seoul again. I believe that one day, we will come back here with integrity. Zheng Taizhu turned his head to take a final look at the Grand Prosecutor's office. Pushing his eyes, he whispered to himself. Afterwards, the group crossed the street and arrived at a nearby alley. That's it, Li Jian. Last time I tried it, the roasted pig trotters and big bone soup here taste quite good. Zheng Taizhu pointed to a small couple barbecue restaurant and smiled, saying, "Oh. Then I have a taste test today." Li Chenghuan agreed and then followed Zheng Taizhu into the store. I found that although this shop is small, it has all 5 internal organs. A long oven is placed along the street. It's very similar to a barbecue restaurant in Huaxia. On the oven, there are many grilled pig trotters and pork belly slices placed in place. Under the charcoal fire, they sizzle and emit an enticing aroma. The boss and his wife are too busy to start dating. Although there are only 6 tables in the small shop, it is packed with people. The 4 of them found an empty table and sat down. Zheng Taizhu didn't even look at the menu and directly greeted the boss, saying, "Boss. Could you please give us 4 portions of roasted pig trotters, 4 portions of seafood bone soup, and 4 portions of rice?" "Okay, guests, please wait a moment, I'll grill it for you now," the boss shouted out. The work on hand keeps going, constantly reversing the roasted pig trotters and pork belly on hand. The whole small shop is filled with a strong aroma of meat. Due to the excellent business of the small shop, Li Chenghuan and the others waited for a while. It's finally my turn. However, when the 4 large portions of roasted pig trotters and bone soup were served to the brim, the tempting color of the pig trotters and the delicious bone soup made the 4 people's appetite boil. Li Chenghuan picked up a roasted golden pig trotters, touched with Korean spicy sauce, sesame seeds, and side dishes, and took a bite. It was full of collagen, with fragrant lips and teeth, fat but not greasy. The taste is indeed quite good. He was originally quite picky about food, and most South Korean dishes didn't quite suit his taste, but it has to be said that this roasted pig trotters is indeed good. As for seafood bones, they are actually seaweed and pork bones, with a moderate taste. In addition, the shop owner also gave away 2 plates of kimchi. Afterwards, Li Chenghuan and the other 4 ordered a large portion of rice, poured the soup from the roasted pig trotter's plate into the rice, and finally had a satisfying meal. After eating and drinking enough, Chenghuan voluntarily paid the money. In South Korea, whether it's dining out or treating guests, it's basically the boss who pays, which is different from Huaxia, where subordinates rush to pay. Since Chenghuan has traveled here, he still needs to do as the Romans do when in Rome. But this only refers to situations where there is a superior. If it's between colleagues, they will be stingy one by one. Most of them are AA, and some even shamelessly ask others to treat them. In addition, there is absolutely no such thing as gentlemanly demeanor in South Korea. It is impossible for men and women to pay for everything when dating, and it is also AA. Even many boys make women pay the bill, which is commonly referred to as eating soft rice in China, but they do not take it seriously and instead believe it is a normal thing. Whether or not to say, South Koreans understand gender equality. The taste of this store is really good, you can come here frequently in the future. Chenghuan walked out of the small shop and said with a smile. I think so too, Zheng Taizhu nodded slightly and then continued, Li Jian, are we now? Go to the Central Inspection Center in Seoul and report earlier. I can't wait to get to know my new colleagues, Chenghuan said with a smile. You're right, Zheng Taizhu agreed. But awkwardly, none of them have a car. I had to take a car to the Central Inspection Center in Seoul. Chenghuan, sitting in the back seat of the taxi, secretly swore that this was definitely his last time taking a taxi. He is a Grand Prosecutor of the Republic of Korea. Surprisingly, I don't even have my own official car. This is really outrageous. Actually, there was, but because he left the prosecutor's office, the car didn't belong to him. It took some time. They finally arrived at the Central District Prosecutor's office in Seoul. As the largest among many local procuradorates, the building area of the Seoul District Prosecutor's office is no smaller than that of the Grand Prosecutor's office. There are also more staff entering and exiting. After all, this is the busiest prosecutor's office in Seoul. There are towering mountains and numerous celebrity prosecutors. It is also the most easily promoted and highly competitive prosecutor's office. Let's go, start a new chapter for us. Chenghuan stood at the door and looked up at the top floor of the prosecutor's office building for a while, which must be the office of the prosecutor's office. This is also the goal he will strive for in the first stage. My department is the Criminal Investigation Department 3 under the second Chief Prosecutor's office, so I need to ask someone first. Chenghuan led Zheng Taizhu and the others into the prosecutor's office. Looking around. In fact, he remembers that the Central Plains Lord had come to the Central District Inspection Office in Seoul, but he mostly came here to do things and rarely visited the departmental structure of the inspection office. Not familiar with the specific office locations of each department. Just at this moment, Chenghuan, who was constantly looking around and didn't pay attention to the people coming ahead, accidentally collided with a female prosecutor wearing a small suit, an A-line skirt, a slender figure, and long and straight legs. Ah! The other party screamed. Her slender physique was no match for Chenghuan, who was 185 centimeters tall and towering. After the two collided, Chenghuan remained motionless, but she bounced back from the impact. With a twist on her high heels, she was about to fall backwards. Fortunately, Chenghuan has eye problems and quick hands. In time, he grabbed her small waist and made a very classic posture of the male lead, saving the female lead. The female prosecutor's upper body was suspended in mid-air, Chenghuan's right leg tilted forward, his knee slightly bent, and one hand wrapped around her waist and shoulder. Two people exchanged a glance. He immediately blushed when he saw the beautiful face of the female prosecutor in his arms. "Senior, could you?" "I'm sorry, I didn't pay attention to the road, I'm very sorry." Chenghuan quickly straightened her up. "It's okay, senior. I also have a responsibility." The female prosecutor patted her chest and quietly breathed a sigh of relief. She almost thought she was going to embarrass herself in public. However, this senior seems very familiar, why haven't you seen him before? She instinctively glanced at Li Chenghuan. But she noticed that Li Chenghuan was staring straight at her, looking stunned. She couldn't help feeling a bit shy. Senior, this is... Who knows? Li Chenghuan was surprised and spoke up. Are you, Xu Minying? Alas, starting point is so difficult. It took me a few days to write and increase my collection by dozens. It will take a long time to get it on the shelves. The author has published a book on the small station and has a collection of 1,000 in a day, and can collect over 10,000 in a week. I am used to being simple and rough, which makes it difficult for me to work slowly and meticulously. It is the dream of every author not to come to starting point to write a book and preach. I hope this book can be liked by more people. Please give the author some recommendation tickets, such as monthly tickets, and leave a review or review. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Becoming colleagues with Xu Minying. Seeking recommended monthly tickets. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Becoming colleagues with Xu Minying. Seeking recommended monthly tickets. Hey. Do seniors know me? Xu Minying exclaimed in surprise. And upon hearing her own confession, Li Chenghuan is indeed a bit too excited. At first, he thought he was in the world of the dark glory drama, but who knew, another Xu Minying appeared. Isn't this to say that I am in a world of Korean dramas? In the future, will there be more characters from Korean dramas appearing? This discovery made Li Chenghuan both novel and exciting. If that's the case, that would be interesting. Compared to the intrigues and deceitful struggles in the officialdom, how could it be more interesting to intersect with these important characters in Korean dramas, cut off their beards in advance, or change their destinies? Moreover, he knew that Xu Minying's boyfriend behind her was Chen Dao-jun. And Chen Dao-jun has also been reborn. He was originally the secretary and roommate in the hands of the chairman Chen Xingjuan, Yin Xianyu, but his rebirth was limited to the drama, the little son of a wealth tycoon. And at the end of the plot, he realized that he was actually dreaming that the so-called son of a wealthy family was just a seductive fantasy of a loser's secretary assistant. To be honest, this drama was well filmed in the early stages, but the ending was a big mess, leaving countless viewers with a hole. The audience also has a lot of dissatisfaction. For example, the sister-in-law who was pushed away by him himself, Mao Xianmin. Many people say that if Chen Dao-jun had married his sister-in-law Mao Xianmin, nothing would have happened afterwards. Because with the intelligence and skills of his sister-in-law Mao Xianmin, he could definitely be his best wife's assistant. She had already easily dealt with the troubles she encountered later on. Who knew that this guy had a bad attitude towards Mao Xianmin, who was the wife of the group president in his previous life? After being reborn, he had extreme hatred towards Mao Xianmin and watched him marry Chen Xingjuan. Many of the troubles that Chen Dao-jun encountered later were traps set up by Mao Xianmin for him. It can only be said that after being reborn, a loser is still a loser. Surprisingly, looking at a person based on personal preferences, it is Mao Xianmin, the wealthy lady of the previous life, who is bad for him, not Mao Xianmin, who likes his little fan sister in this life. He refused Mao Xianmin's confession due to this kind of nonsense, and even broke her heart, causing hatred and love. It can only be said to be extremely foolish. There is no eye for any members of the wealthy family at all. Even Chen Xingjuan knows that even if Mao Xianmin hates him, satirizes him, or even goes behind his back to meet Chen Dao-jun, confess, and hug him, he can treat it as not seeing it. In the face of Mao Xianmin's revenge and angry request to get married immediately, he can respond without changing his face. It wasn't until the moment before the wedding that he revealed his ferocious true face, mocking Mao Xianmin and humiliating her to the point where he almost wanted to give up getting married. Compared to Chen Xingjuan's deep scheming, Chen Daojuan's shrewdness is almost non-existent. Not to mention the brainless operation of using 200 million yuan to save a dying car company, even to the point of almost falling out with his capable assistant Wu Shixian in order to prevent his father from losing his job. After some rough handling, my father's job was saved. My mother went bankrupt and committed suicide due to his indirect reasons agreed to seek revenge against the wealthy family. As a result, he didn't do anything serious and didn't change anything. To live a lifetime of hard work, not to be fooled by girls, not to spend money, regretful not to be saved. He only lightly retaliated against the members of the wealthy family, and staged a warm and touching scene of filial piety for Chenghuan, who had killed his father in a previous life and his mother in this life. This kind of goods. He also made billions of dollars by investing in the U.S. stock market. In addition to his prior knowledge and rebirth advantage, his biggest contributor is undoubtedly investment partner Wu Shixian. If it weren't for his connections on Wall Street, would you, a small South Korean stick, still want to bring back that money? Look at those Wall Street capitalists, you're done. Without his help, Chen Daojun could only be considered excellent. But it is far from being a qualified heir to a chaebol. For the person Chen Daojun, Li Chenghuan is extremely contemptuous. But for his identity and status, he is envious. No matter how it is explained, this loser is also the president of a prestigious miracle company and the youngest son of a wealthy family, and with his financial resources, he has already obtained the qualification to compete with the grandfather of a wealthy family, Chen Yangzhe. The status gap between Li Chenghuan and him is obvious. So what exactly should he do to benefit from it? Li Chenghuan pondered. At this moment, Xu Minying spoke with some embarrassment, "Master. Ah, I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted. You're Prosecutor Xu Minying, right? I saw your name from the prosecutor's ID on you." Li Chenghuan immediately came to his senses. Upon hearing this, Xu Minying lowered her head and saw the prosecutor's ID hanging around her neck. She also realized that her senior recognized her identity through this. "I see. Hello senior, I am Prosecutor Xu Minying from the Financial Investigation Department." Xu Minying bowed slightly to Li Chenghuan. In South Korea, the workplace hierarchy is strict. Whenever facing an elderly prosecutor, be polite. Otherwise, it will be considered disrespectful to the senior. This is a fatal mistake. Although Li Chenghuan's appearance is not aging, he is actually in the prime of his youthful vigor and vitality, whether it is his appearance or temperament. Perhaps because he was transformed by that mysterious force after his travels, his current appearance can be called handsome Oba, comparable to top-tier stars. For Xu Minying, she is just a new prosecutor who has just passed 2 years of hard training at the Judicial Research Institute and has just started working. So any prosecutor encountered in the prosecutor's office is her senior. "Hello, Prosecutor Xu, I am Li Chenghuan, the leader of the Criminal Investigation Department 3 who has just been transferred from the Grand Prosecutor's office. Could you please take me to the Criminal Investigation Department 3? I am new here and I am not very familiar with the Central District Prosecutors in Seoul." Li Chenghuan smiled and made a request to Xu Minying. "Hey. The senior is from the Grand Prosecutor's office." Xu Minying was surprised to hear Li Chenghuan's words. The Grand Prosecutor's office is the place she has always wanted to go. After all, who doesn't want to go to the official position on that day? Who knew that the senior in front of me was actually from the Grand Prosecutor's office, and he also served in the Criminal Investigation Department 3? This is offending his superiors. Has he been demoted? Generally, if there are prosecutors who have been delegated from the Grand Prosecutor's office to perform their duties at the Central District Prosecutors in Seoul, they will at least start as ministers. But Li Chenghuan is just a team leader. It's hard not to mention any tricks involved. However, she wouldn't be so brainless to say such presumptuous and offensive things. Xu Minying thought to herself. On the surface, she showed a humble and gentle smile. "I see. I happen to have time now, so let's take the senior to the criminal department. Please come with me." "Thank you," Li Chenghuan bowed slightly to her. Then he helped her pick up some documents and information from the ground. Slightly lagging behind Xu Minying by half a body position, he followed her through the interior of the prosecutor's office, and finally took the elevator to the third floor of the prosecutor's office. Afterwards, Xu Minying took Li Chenghuan to a super-large comprehensive office department, which looked like a huge office hall, with separate offices on both sides of the hall. "Senior, that's the Criminal Investigation Department 3. Xu Minying pointed to an area with a Criminal Code 3 sign hanging on it. "Thank you very much for your hard work," Li Chenghuan bowed slightly to Xu Minying. "You're welcome, Senior. This is what I should do," Xu Minying also replied politely. Seeing Xu Minying about to turn around and leave, Li Chenghuan took the lead in saying, "Excuse me for taking the liberty, I'm not sure if it's possible to exchange contact information with Prosecutor Xu. As a newcomer, I still have a lot to learn from, and I hope to gain some experience from Prosecutor Xu." Reader group of this book. 9127138876, end of this chapter.